In this IGCSE business video, we're going to cover communication barriers. So demonstrating the awareness of communication barriers. So how communication barriers arise and the problems of ineffective communication and how communication barriers can be reduced or removed. So communication barriers. There are 4 parts to any successful communication. It's going to be the sender, the receiver, the medium used, and feedback. Communication may fail if any one of these 4 parts do not operate as they should. So if one part fails, then it would be called a barrier to communication. Communication barriers are factors that stop effective communication of messages. So this would cause a breakdown in communication, which would then lead to serious problems for the organization. Now, what are the most common barriers to effective communication? So there's problems with the sender, problems with the medium, problems with the receiver, and problems with feedback. We're going to go through each one of them now in detail. So the problems with the sender is if the language used is too difficult, so it may not be understood. So the sender has to ensure that the language which is used is understandable and there should be no jargon. The sender speaks too quickly or not clearly. So the sender should make sure that the message is as clear as possible and feedback should be asked to make sure that the message is clear. The sender communicates the wrong message or they pass it to the wrong receiver. So the sender must make sure that the right person is receiving the message. And the message is too long or there's too much detail to it, so the message cannot be understood. So the message has to be brief to allow points to be understood. Problems with the medium. The message may be lost, so the receiver does not actually see it. So it's important to insist on feedback, and if no feedback, then it's assumed that the message is lost. The wrong method of communication was used. So the sender must select the appropriate method of communication for the message. And if the message is sent down through a long chain of command, then the message may get distorted. So the shortest method of communication should be used to avoid this problem. Carrying on with problems with the medium, if there is no feedback that is received. This could be because the message, the wrong method of communication was used for the message, and a breakdown or failure of the medium. So then other methods of communication then should be made possible and must be made available. Problems with the receiver. So they might not be listening or they might not be paying attention. So the importance of the message should be emphasized and the receiver should be asked for feedback to ensure that there is an understanding. And the receiver may not like or trust the sender, so they may not actually even act on their message. So there has to be trust between the receiver and the sender for there to be effective communication. And another sender should be used instead, who the receiver is going to respect. Problems with feedback. If there is no feedback, so maybe no feedback was asked for, so the method of communication used did not allow for any feedback to actually be given. The feedback was received slowly or distorted, so the feedback is passing through too many people before it's actually being received. So direct lines of communication between the managers and subordinates should be used and be available. Direct communication is going to be more effective. Okay, now let's go through an exam question. So TT is a private limited company and they are set up 15 years ago in country P. It buys ready-made plain white t-shirts and then prints designs on them. The t-shirts are imported from country Q, a developing country. TT has 50 different designs that are produced in batches of various sizes, from child size to extra large adult size. The t-shirts are sold to small retailers in country P. These retailers expect high quality products. The marketing manager is considering changing the place part of its marketing mix as she wants to increase the sales of t-shirts. The share capital invested to start up the company was $2 million. Shareholders' funds has increased to $8 million by 2015, but stayed at this level in 2018. TT directors want to expand the company by exporting their t-shirts and are considering the following two options. So option A, take over Des-Own, which is a competing company which manufactures personalized t-shirts to the customers' own designs. This company only sells online and its brand is recognized worldwide. It has a large share of this global e-commerce market. TT will have to raise $10 million to buy out the existing shareholders. Some workers will be made redundant if departments in the new company are merged with those in TT. Option B is invest in expanding their own production facilities by buying new computer-controlled equipment for $500,000. This will allow an increase in the production of the existing range of t-shirts. TT could then sell directly to large retailers in other countries. However, they might have to use an agent or go into a joint venture in order to be successful. So the exam question is, identify two communication barriers which might occur within TT and explain how each barrier might be reduced. Now this is a 8-mark question. Pause the video now and have a go at the question. Okay, now let's go through the exam question. So remember, this is an 8-mark question. So per barrier, you're going to get 1 mark for knowledge, 1 mark for the explanation, and 2 marks for the application to case study. So possible barriers that you can mention is problems with the sender. So different languages in country P and country Q. The message is not clear, they speak too quickly, or they've sent the message to the wrong person, or too many workers to contact. If you're talking about problems with the medium, you can mention that the message is lost, no feedback given, the wrong channel is used, the message did not pick up. If you're talking about problems with the receiver, you can mention they weren't listening, they may not trust the sender, or they're not understanding the message. If you're talking about problems with feedback, you can say only one-way communication, there is no feedback, there's distortion of feedback as it's passed through too many people, and there's a long chain of command. And if you're talking about problems with the physical environment, you can say the noise level, there may be separate buildings, or a time difference. Now let's go through an example answer that you can write. So remember, you're going to get 4 marks per barrier. So in this question, in this answer, we've said problems with the medium used. So that's 1 mark. In the case of TT, information is put on a factory notice board in other buildings where the workers do not see it. 2nd mark. If the message is put on the notice board in the same building as the factory workers and also in a newsletter sent to every worker in the t-shirt factory, 1 mark, then they should ensure that all workers receive the information and the barrier will be overcome. That's your 4th mark. Now remember that for this question, you have to mention the barrier, but also how to overcome the barrier. That's going to give you your full 4 marks. Now, good luck. Subscribe to the channel for more videos and follow social media for any updates.